Hey, what is going on, guys? Worst Trends here. Oh, stop crying. This really is the second time I'm reviewing the Amazing Digital Circus pilot. I said stop crying, you're embarrassing me in front of all the new viewers. Exactly 1 year ago today, the Amazing Digital Circus pilot dropped on YouTube. That's right, this is Patient Zero. Shortly after, I made a review on the thing, and it's the worst thing I've ever made. Calamity's a close second. A few months ago, I made a review on episode 2, but that thing's actually good, so who the hell cares? I gotta tell you, I was obsessed with anything Digital Circus for a good month and a half. It got so bad, I started unironically watching those cursed comic dubs. If you know, you know. I wrote a fan fiction. You thought I was joking, didn't you? Yep, that's right. 6.5 handcrafted episodes by yours truly. Tell you what, if this video gets 900,000 views, I'll release them to the public. Oh damn, it looks like all my files are deleted. What was me? Basically what I'm trying to say is that this pilot took over my life for a while. But was it warranted? It has been a long time since I've watched that original episode, and I can't help but wonder if it even holds up. Sure, episode 2 was good, I enjoyed all those little non-canon shorts they've made, and episode 3 was announced while I was writing this. Damn it, now there's gonna be 2 Digital Circus videos in a row, I could've planned this better. This is a whole big series now, and it's easy to overlook what started all of it. Is it possible that, okay, look man, I hate writing intros. I just want to give this episode a re-review. Do I really need a reason? The episode opens up with some classic Atari 2600 graphics of some landscape before the music swells and we get drawn into beautiful 3D animation. Holy shit. This goofball shows up and starts talking about some circus. What the hell? That wasn't in the contract! This is Kane, I say as if everyone watching this doesn't already know that. He pulls off his hat and— What the fuck is that?! A song begins to play and we get introduced to all our main characters. There's Gangle and Zooble and Kinger too. Ragatha, Jax, and there's Kaufmo. Son of a bitch. This is a really smart way to open up the episode. We immediately get to see all the characters and their names, so there's no confusion. But it also makes sense for this to be going on in-universe, since this is a circus, and circuses have introductions, I think. Not to mention, it shows that Kaufmo is missing, so when Ragatha mentions it later on, it's impossible to get confused. Just try, I dare you. If the opening 2 seconds weren't enough to tip you off to the fact that this is a video game, then maybe the glitching and terrible model physics that happen will. In pops Hatsune Miku. Oh, whoops, sorry, I got my tabs mixed up. What I meant to say is in pops Pomni, our main character. She starts bumbling around like an idiot before getting a glimpse at a strange red door. I wonder if that'll be important. It disappears immediately, and Pomni finds herself bumping into some of the other characters. This is when everyone finally notices that she's here and they begin to get talking. Pomni starts to freak out, understandably so, and says that she put on some type of headset and now can't get it off. The other characters, namely Ragatha, start to try to calm her down. It does not work.
Let's just try to calm down. Everything's gonna be okay, new stuff. We've all been through this. You just need to get your head What the fuck is going on?
You would be one hell of a therapist. Kane explains that Pomni is now inside of the Amazing Digital Circus, a silly world where anything can happen. Except for leaving. Jax jumps in the conversation and says that it's impossible to escape, and that Pomni will be stuck here for the rest of her life. Boo-hoo, cry about it. This is now Pomni's new home, alongside her new permanent body. I feel like your experience of being trapped in the circus can vary wildly depending on what kind of body you get. Pomni actually got pretty lucky, being by far the closest to human out of the whole bunch. Zooble's on the opposite end of the spectrum, and I don't think people realize just how much it would suck to have that body. Not only are you made of stupid-looking abstract shapes, but your limbs can easily be pulled off at any time. Zooble also has a permanent limp due to having 2 different legs. Hey guys, I wrote this segment before episode 3 came out. I'm a fucking psychic. But it could be even worse. Later on we get to see some of the old circus members that aren't around anymore. Imagine getting kidnapped and turned into a furry. I couldn't imagine a worse fate. Well, anyway, after learning this information, Pomni goes through all 5 stages of grief. Fear, denial, the fucking other one. Kane decides that an existential crisis is as good of a time as any to show Pomni around the area.
Here we have the tent!
There's the circus tent that they were just in. It's where the characters live, and that's kind of it. We don't get to see much else of the tent in this episode. There's the digital carnival where you can go ride a Ferris wheel or go to a petting zoo or something.
This looks like my frickin' penis!
But also the digital lake where Kane mentions suicide. I'd make a joke to go along with this, but I think I already used all my free passes last time. Kane also takes Pomni out past everything and into the void. It's been a year and I just now realized that the void in this show looks exactly like the background I use in my videos. You know, just white instead of blue. Kane warns that Pomni should never wander out into the void. Not even he knows what's out there. It's probably just the screensaver. Right before Kane flies the 2 of them back into the tent, Pomni gets yet another glimpse at that red exit door. Huh, I wonder if that'll be important. Kane gets very defensive over the mention of an exit and quickly moves the conversation forward. He asks Pomni what her name is. She doesn't remember, insanity ensues, I laugh. Ha! Kane randomly generates her one, and that name ends up being Pomni. You got very lucky, this was the next result. Kane then invites Pomni to join in on today's adventure, which will be restricted to inside the circus tent. Zooble starts complaining, and man, if I didn't already go on a rant about this character last time, you bet your ass I would right now. Kane announces the adventure, which is titled,
Gather the gloinks!
These little shape guys are infesting the circus and stealing everything they get their, bodies on. Now it's the gang's job to find out why they're doing this and put a stop to it. Zooble is immediately dismembered. Yes! Ragatha suggests that they all go check up on Kaufmo since he didn't show up earlier. But Kinger jumps in and says that the last time he saw him, he was rambling on and on about an exit door. This piques Pomni's attention and says she would like to go talk to the clown. Jax insists that he, Pomni, and Ragatha go, and I quote, harass Kaufmo. Meanwhile, the other two can go like fuck off or something, I don't know.
They broke my car.
The more interesting plotline heads down the hallway to go check on the guy. The hallway is where everyone's rooms are, and we get to see pictures of the old circus members on their respective doors. But wait, literally no one asked, what exactly happened to these guys? Give me like 1 more minute. I really love this moment here where Pomni asks why the gang even bothers going on the adventures. Ragatha says that the adventures are a way for the circus members to stay distracted and keep them busy. As she goes on though, she starts falling deeper into this hole of existential dread, and the weight of the situation comes crashing back in on her after years of pushing it away. It shows us that Ragatha, despite acting really optimistic and cheerful, is in a really fragile state, and not at all happy where she is. She thinks that if she pretends she's happy, she really will be. I am really interested in this character and her complexities, and I'm excited for when we finally get an episode that focuses on her. I'm sure it'll be a real tearjerker too. I'm calling it now. Ragatha is gonna get abstracted at some point. She's clearly the most innocent and well-meaning character, so her getting abstracted would kind of signify the loss of all hope and morality for everyone else. Something like that, I don't know. This crash out, as the kids say, is our first little bit of real horror. It shows us that the other people trapped in here are just as human as Pomni and were ripped away from their lives and pulled into a digital hell they can never escape from. And Jax was just watching the whole thing. Get a fucking job, buddy. One thing I want to mention is how expressive Pomni is, particularly her eyes. After Ragatha's tantrum, Pomni gets these scribbles in her eyes for a few seconds, and I like that. And earlier in the scene with Kinger, her pupils shift from almost the size of her head to little specks. I just really like how Pomni's eyes are animated in this show. The whole episode is animated really well. Okay, fine. When Kaufmo doesn't answer his door, Jax pulls out a key and lets himself in. They are then greeted by this.
Oh, pillar bird.
Jax must have been feeling active because he goes for a little walk in. Pomni gets chased down the hall but is able to trick the monster into nosediving off the balcony. Okay, so what the hell was that? That, my friends, was Kaufmo. He went insane after seeing an exit door, and like Ragatha said, reached his breaking point. This caused him to abstract into this jumbled, glitchy mess, which is a really good design, I might add.
Oh, pillar.
Pomni almost leaves, but instead turns around to go back to Ragatha. And then as she's running, they play this cartoon skidding sound effect, and it just removes all weight from the scene. Gravel and Bishop are staring at a hole. Riveting. Coincidentally, Jax finishes his little jog right beside them. Good on him for staying active. They tell Jax that they saw a Gloink carry a piece of Zooble down there, so Jax heroically steps up to save the day. He even helps Gangle and Kinger down. What a gentleman. They get down and... This is a really tough choice. Pomni is back at Ragatha and is looking for her and calling out her name. We then see that Ragatha is sitting 12 feet in front of her, completely obstructed in this perfectly straight hallway. You might need to get your eyes checked, Pomni. I'm just looking out for you. I mean, you clearly can't do it yourself. I mean, she was right there. Even though she's in excruciating agony, she still stays positive and tells Pomni to go get Kane. Unfortunately, Kane is nowhere to be found no matter where Pomni looks. We get to see little glimpses of a couple rooms in the tent, and I really wish that in one of these episodes we get to see more of it.
I'm over here stroking my dick.
But judging by episode 3's teaser, it looks like for the formula of this show is that each episode is going to be centered around that day's adventure. But there's a possibility that there's an episode that shows us more of the tent. Maybe one, right? Right? After a hot minute, she runs back into Kaufmo and this scene doesn't really matter. He just kind of shows up and flicks off. I like the shot of Pomni looking in the mirror though. That was kind of cool because she finally sees what she looks like and something make the same joke again. But wait, the door. I wonder if that'll be important. What? Kaufmo starts slamming on the ground, and this breaks the floor, causing him to interrupt the Gloink stuff that's going on. Which is fun and interesting, just not really important to the story of the episode. Zubul does get eaten though. I made sure to put that in my notes.
Hey! Kinger, you mother...
After going through the door, she finds herself in a little waiting room. Oh, that's kinda neat. This is level 0. Door after door after door is just another office, storage closet, or waiting room. Just the same few objects in the same blank room, procedurally generated over and over again. Panic sets in. I've heard a lot of people say that this scene is a real pace breaker, but I never saw it that way. Considering it's not only integral to the plot, but also an important character and lore moment, I think it's okay it stays. I really don't see where people are coming from with that argument. The structure of the episode stays the exact same, with 2 main plot lines going on at once, cutting between them. I'll be honest, I think people just got a little scared. It's okay, I understand. I got scared once. This scene is fantastic though. I love the way the cinematography juts around after every cut, and Pomni's voice actress just hits the nail on the head. It feels so chaotic and brings home that feeling of panic Pomni's feeling. The music slowly gets gradually louder and more stressful, and the whole thing climaxes when Pomni stumbles across a little computer alone on a desk. The sight of it makes her go fucking insane, and she does this. As Pomni continues, she goes by a logo that says C and Day, and after one more door arrives in the void. Love the music that plays here, by the way. It's way underrated. Pomni gets put into a sort of trance, staring off into nothingness. Fortunately, this alerts Kane, and he quickly teleports himself to Pomni and gets the 2 of them out of there. Upon arrival back in the tent, Jax, Kinger, and Gangle spot Kane and tell him that Kaufmo abstracted. Kane is very chill about this for some reason and opens up the ground into the cellar. With a snap of his finger, Kaufmo is sent down into it. Someone's totally gonna fall in there at some point, aren't they? Ragatha crawls her way over to the group. Damn, Pomni, that one kinda slipped your mind, didn't it? Kane gets her back to normal, and hooray, the day is saved! Kane then apologizes for lying about the exit doors. He made them to try to find a way to get everyone out of the circus, but he just isn't powerful enough and couldn't connect it to the outside world. This is why the rooms are all slight variations of the area that the computer holding the game is in. Instead of connecting the game to the real world, he kinda just recreated some rooms that look like it. It's actually pretty admirable that he tried to make an exit for them. Maybe the reason he never wanted to talk about it is because he didn't want to give the circus members false hope of leaving. Some people still seem to think that Kane is evil, but there is no way he is. He has shown no signs of doing anything malicious, unless he's a twist villain. In that case, I'll dislike the video. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Kane gives the crew a delicious digital meal to celebrate the end of the adventure, and holy shit, this ending. There is nothing I can add to this. Everyone watching knows that this scene is perfect. The music is fucking beautiful, and Pomni's expressions expertly show her increasing insanity and realization of the situation. Then the sudden cut to the computer in the real world is the icing on the cake. The Amazing Digital Circus isn't perfect, but this scene is. It's a scary concept, getting torn away from everything you know and loved and trapped in a world with no power, where not even death can save you. All you can do is wait until you reach your breaking point. It's like Pomni is finally realizing this, and this scene encapsulates that fear perfectly. The music, though. How the hell am I feeling nostalgic listening to this? This episode is a year old and the series is still going. How could I possibly feel sad right now? And with that, the episode closes out on a fantastic note. And it didn't take long for this to blow up in popularity, deservingly so. After only a few days, there was fan art, Who Broke It animatics, just straight up porn. And the bane of my existence, fan comic dubs. What the fuck? I'm about to tell you something that I have never revealed before. There is a lost episode of Worst Trends. It was titled Reacting to Digital Circus Cringe, and it's exactly what it sounds like. I recorded like 20 minutes worth of content of me reacting to these just awful comments, but it was so bad I just couldn't bring myself to edit it. What the f am I doing with my life? Even then, this is back when my parents still bothered to watch all my videos, so I knew they would see it. That'd be one hell of a thing to bring up at Thanksgiving dinner. So, heard you're into some weird circus shit? What? Maybe one day I'll make a whole video on these comics. No, this is editing me. I am not f***ing doing that. I went back to look at the comments to see if they're really that bad, and they are. This stuff is so much worse than I remember. You'd have to pay me so much to do this again. I am not. And that's really it. I would go back and do a quick overview of the show over the past year, but I've already said everything I've wanted to say in my review of episode 2. Or, that abomination. Speaking of that old review, that there is the only real reason I made this video. With how much I love this show, I feel like that original video just didn't do justice to this episode. Or my brain cells. I'll say it once and I'll say it again. this video blows. So I'm glad I can finally have a review for Digital Circus's pilot that's actually watchable. I'm sorry if this was more of a summary than a review, but I've watched this episode so many times I'm numb to it.
None of the jokes are funny to me anymore, the animation doesn't impress me anymore, and the Pomni just doesn't pound me like it used to.
As you can imagine, it's a little hard to write down my thoughts when I feel nothing.
This is the equivalent to listening to your favorite song too often and getting sick of it. With that said, I still really do like the episode, and the concept alone piqued my interest so hard that I lost my dignity for a good few months.
I think I still prefer episode 2 by just a bit. It just had better stuff going on with the other characters. But yeah, The Amazing Digital Circus is still fantastic a whole year later. I don't know why it wouldn't be, but I figured that title and thumbnail would get more clicks. Now, if you'll excuse me, episode 3 just came out, and I'd like to go watch it. And play. You know, maybe I should have read that contract better.